guys back with another video. Just wanted to talk on this one about magic and a problem I have with it. I love performing magic. It's the reason I do magic. Well, one of the reasons, but I like seeing the wonder on people's faces and that moment where reality and physics kind of break for them and their knowledge of things, it doesn't work anymore. And my goal as a magician is to take that moment and draw it out as much as I can, or emphasize it to max potency it can be, and just kind of make it as great and grand as it can be. It's an idea I got from Dana Madison of taking the wow moment, building it up as much as possible, and drawing it out or making it as impactful as possible. And that's something I try to do in my magic. But I think in culture now, we kind of go past that in a sense. And I think part of it has to do with our attention spans, especially people my age. Society is kind of gearing us to, if it doesn't happen in 1 or 2 seconds, then it's not worth watching. And if it takes longer than about 15 seconds, then on to the next thing is too long. And I kind of get that. I have directed my magic specifically that I do in person to those guidelines. I've noticed if I do a trick has 50 different steps, or it's this long storyline or whatever, people get tired. It's not as impressive at the end, in a sense. So I stick to certain time lengths or keep them engaged as long as I can for the effect in order to make it more impactful. And that's the way I personally perform it, because it's what gets better reactions. But I don't think people dwell on the reaction as much as I do or other magicians do. I heard this word the other day, yugen. I'll have it on the screen here. It's a Japanese term for beauty that can't be perceived or hasn't been fully perceived. Whether it hasn't been fully perceived, or you can't possibly, you don't have the ability to fully perceive or understand it. And I think that's a really good concept for magic, especially in the sense it is now. More so for spectators. Magicians is a little different. And I'll explain why later, but I think that people watching the magic trick, I've noticed this in my own experience. So I'll do a trick and like, wow, that was so cool. Can you do another one? Already on to the next thing, rather than dwelling in it and soaking in that one moment. Which I get that. I enjoy doing tricks, and I like doing multiple in a row type of thing. That's what makes it a magic performance, is multiple tricks. But to me, it seems like that trick isn't being appreciated in its full ability, in that yugen sense. But it's being like diminished and just kind of moved past. Oh wow, I saw it. Next thing, it's the next thing, then the next thing, then the next thing, and kind of in a consumerism effect. Not exactly, but they don't have the joy in it. So someone seeing magic for the first time will have that joy in it, and they'll see the trick and like, wow, that was so amazing, can you do that trick again? And then you'll do the trick again, and they'll have even more made of it, because it's even more full in the second time. They still don't know how it works or whatever. And I think that's more the trick being fully appreciated. And I think that's why magicians, for example, if I do a really complex trick and there's magicians behind me, if it's done in a way that they wouldn't have understood or thought about in some way, they'd be super fascinated with the method, and they'd want to see it again and again and again and again and again. And every detail of it is being meticulously observed, and it's being enjoyed. Which, that's the way I view magic. I'd rather see the same trick 30 times in a row, if it's done well, of course. So I'd rather see it, I'm going to give a little more context, see the same trick done 30 times well by someone who does the trick well and enjoys it. If it's just by someone who's like, oh, I know how it works, and does it or whatever, it's not as enjoyable, at least for me. I like seeing the effort and time put behind it to mastering a trick, as well as the method behind it, even if I already know it. It could be a very beginner trick or something, and I'll still enjoy it. Like, I could do something simple like that and it changes, or an ordinary change. And pretty much any magician knows the ordinary change, but I'll watch it a million times over. I don't even care. It's just, I like it. It's not necessarily when I perform a ton, but I enjoy seeing the methodology behind it, seeing the time it took into it, just enjoying each second of it. And I know everyone does it differently, but I enjoy seeing that and observing all the intricacies of each method, as well as the reveal and just the time it took into it and everything. And that's something I really like about Magic that I think other people enjoy as well. I'm going to give an analogy. It's like a 5-star restaurant. Got all the millionaires, the billionaires, whatever, whoever going to this restaurant. And they don't enjoy the same food as everyone else, for example. They've taken the joy out of it, and they're more of doing it for the experience rather than the enjoyment of it. Where someone lower class or something could go to a burger joint like McDonald's or something, and it could be the best burger they've ever had. And the enjoyment of that type of thing. That's kind of the way I see Magic is. I'm doing it for the enjoyment of it, as well as seeing the craftsmanship and the dedication someone took to make that burger, for example, and the joy they put into it. While the high-end chef might enjoy his craft as well, I think he's kind of striving for perfection in a sense that is removing the love, and it's more of a repetition of a goal. Is I'm trying to get to that unachievable thing to the point where they're not enjoying anymore. It becomes a lifestyle or that type of thing, rather than the enjoyment. I'll say it's all of them, just for this example. But I think that's one of my problems with Magic is people don't enjoy it. So what I've done recently is I'll do a trick, whether it is the Erdnage. And when they ask for another, I won't do anymore. Again, this isn't always the case. This is something I've been doing more recently though. But just that way, letting the moment soak type of thing. And looking for the people that do enjoy seeing it, seeing the craft or whatever behind it. And looking for those people that way they can appreciate it too. And that's why I was saying, like earlier, magicians are separate from that because they will see that and just be amazed with the same thing over and over, especially if it's done well. Maybe not Erdnase, but maybe something more like a clip shift or something. They'd be a little more impressive if I was doing it really differently or something. And then like that type of thing, more of the behind the scenes view of it rather than just the concept of the trick. Rather than the reveal, they're more interested in the method. While the reveal is important and it is an interesting factor, it's more of the concept of the trick type of thing, which I don't think laymen necessarily understand that as well. And I think that's one of the reasons I do enjoy speaking with other magicians and stuff, especially about the craft, is just talking shop in a sense. And I've kind of made videos about that in the past, but being able to have that relation with someone. And the closest thing I get to talking with magicians is talking to people who have never seen magic and are completely enthralled in it. Where, like I said before, they can, whether it's the first time or they're completely enthralled, I can do the same trick 30 times and they're still impressed by it, and they still enjoy it, and they want to see it again and again and again. Not to the point where, oh, I want to see it so I can figure it out. Well, those people are okay, and I get it, I want to understand how it works too and figure it out. But the ones that are just, they want to see it over and over and over for the enjoyment of it, because they enjoy it. And I enjoy talking with those people as well, because it's the same type of thing, as they share the love I have for the craft. It's from a different perspective, but it's still love for it nonetheless. And I think that's one of the things I do like about magic, is forming those connections with people, whether it be with other magicians who can form connections to the relation, or if it is that specifically a person that I can talk to in regards to just the enjoyment of the craft type of thing. I think it's a rare thing to find. I've talked to a lot of magicians, some super well known, some have their own, they've toured the country and the world and stuff, other ones more amateur, oh, they know a couple tricks or whatever, they kind of quit or whatever it may be. And seeing the ones that are super passionate about it and seeing the ones that aren't super passionate about it. And I've noticed there's kind of three categories. There's the quote-unquote beginner ones. They might not be beginners, but they know the tricks, they're comfortable with it, they don't want to necessarily learn more, they don't do it a ton, they don't have the same passion for it. And those people I kind of associate with speaking to just a regular spectator who doesn't necessarily care about magic. I'm like, oh, I could do a trick. Like, oh, okay. And then they just kind of move on to the next thing. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone has their own interests, but it's more enjoyable talking with people that aren't like that in a sense. The next ones are the methodology ones in a sense. So the people who they eat, sleep, and breathe magic, not necessarily for the passion of it. While they do have that passion, it's wanting to know more and know more and know more and know more. And nothing wrong with that. I enjoy learning too and wanting to know all of the things. But without that love behind it, then it loses something. And these are the type of people that they can do a million different tricks perfectly, and they're more of doing it to do the tricks perfectly rather than for the audience, in a sense. While they are still doing it for the audience, and it may be their livelihood, especially in this sense, they are still missing that passion behind it, in a sense. They do have the passion for the methodology and doing it over and over, but they don't have that audience connection. And the third is the ones that have both those, the love for the methodology as well as the audience connection and enjoying that part. And I think those are my favorite ones to talk to because they have the genuine passion for magic, and they do want to know more, but they also want to perfect what they have. And David Blaine's one of these like this. Not that I've ever met him, but people can do a simple move, and that be the only trick they learn ever. But they'll do it 10 hours a day for 20 years, just finding every intricacy in it and just enjoying it as much as they can. And those are the people, it's that level of obsession that they enjoy it, but that moment of wonder is still preserved with them. And I think those make the best magicians. While they might not necessarily know the most tricks, because again, they spent their whole lives working on just one, they're the ones who have the most love for it. And that's what I kind of strive to be in my magic. And hopefully I'll get there one day, but while I do have the love for it, I'm still working on it. But yeah, that's about it. That's all I wanted to talk about in this video. And comment down below what you guys think. Or yeah, it's kind of whatever. If you want to learn magic outside of tutorials, I'd be happy to talk to people. Or it's just want to talk, whatever works. Peace.